Hello, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk about something that came up in my free Facebook group, my polarity group. By the way, if you're watching this and you are not in my free group, join my free group. Go to my wall and check out my links on all my short posts, and you'll see the links to my free group where you'll learn a ton about polarity and shifting your love life. All right, without that out of the way, let's talk about what actually happened. So there was a text exchange that was posted. And in the text exchange, I think it was very short, something about a man leading, sort of pseudo leading a woman to come and cook dinner for him. Now, what I'm going to talk about is not so much about that text exchange because that was actually done very poorly, and I would never recommend a man communicate in that kind of way. But I want to talk more generally because one of the comments that a woman made is that a woman shouldn't cook for a man unless she is his wife. And that, what was it? What was the phrase that she used? It's like, that's a wife duty or something. That's selfish. Let's just put it that way. That's selfish. And here's the thing. Here's where I think so many women have gone in the wrong direction here, right? Because there is definitely a large subsection of women that have been taken advantage of by men. I have empathy for that. I have compassion for that. I know that's to really do things for a man, right? Cooking and whatever else, and get so much less in return is really hurtful. It's really painful. I really can't even imagine how much that would hurt. I've experienced that only very briefly, and it sucks. So I get that. And so a lot of women have been in that situation and then and kind of been, we'll call it led on, we'll say, by men who aren't really leading things forward and turning it into a real commitment, moving it towards marriage, all that kind of stuff. And so women will get, well, I call it used, right? And just feel bad about it. And then there's another subsection of women on the other side of things where it's like, basically, I'm not going to do anything for a man unless I'm his wife, right? And basically doing anything is somehow weak, right? So back to the idea that this is selfish, because it is. Imagine a man, like, here's how we'll flip it around. Imagine a man had that same mentality. I'm not going to take women out on dates, do nice things for her, drive her around, pick her up. What else do you do for a woman? Like buy her gifts, all that kind of stuff. That's husband duties. I'm just going to, invite her over and we'll just have sex until we're married. Imagine how ridiculous that would be. And I can very clearly state that would be ridiculous, selfish, lazy, unmasculine, pretty much everything. Okay. So it's when a woman says that, and I've seen this all over the internet, that, like basically doing things for a man, that's a wife thing. And until then, she just shouldn't be doing anything. It's the exact same thing. It's selfish. Here's the other thing. If I was single, right, and I was dating, and let's say I was a truly devotional man like I am now, which I wasn't when I was single, unfortunately, and I was fully in my masculine energy, and I'm taking a woman out on dates, and I'm making her feel really special, and I'm cherishing her, and I'm picking her up, and I'm doing all of these wonderful things for her because I love making her happy. And then I lead her lovingly to make us dinner, let's just say, and she's like, no, that's just I don't want to do that. That's you gotta make me your wife first thing that would come to my mind is I want to dump this woman. Like, this is so disrespectful. This is so selfish. I don't want to be with this woman anymore. That's what a masculine man is going to think when a woman acts like that, because it is selfish. It's also not submissive, right? It's also setting this weird boundary that she got from who the hell knows where. And so there's disrespect in itself there as well, right? It is okay for a woman to do things for a man, go out of her way to do things for him under two conditions. One, she's being led to do it, right? If she is doing it through her own initiation, right, she's stepping into her masculine. That's what a man should be doing, is doing things through his own leadership, and just initiating, surprising her and everything, right? That's not a woman's role, to initiate those things and be like, hey baby, go sit down, I'm going to cook you this beautiful, or sorry, this delicious dinner. No. But if she's led to do it in a loving way, why would she not do that? Well, condition number one. Condition number two is that a man is treating her well, right? That he's considering her, that he's taking her out, that he's making her feel special. And so then it's a very reciprocal thing, right? Under those two conditions, why would a woman not want to do something like that, regardless of whether she's married to him or not? A man, if she doesn't, what's a man going to think? It's like, okay, why would I want to marry a woman who's selfish and doesn't want to do anything nice for me when I do all of these things for her, right? That's what's going to go through a man's mind. It just wouldn't make sense. We have this, women have these really strange ideas, these really strange ideas about that, like doing these nice things for a man is like he'll lose respect for her in some way. No. And it's the same thing with sex as well, right? And like my belief about sex, right? This is my belief, is, for the most part, there's always exceptions with men, but it doesn't matter really when you have sex with a man. It really doesn't. You could wait 50 dates, and if a man isn't interested in moving things towards marriage or commitment or whatever, it's going to make no difference. It's all about how he feels about you, and the reasons that you're doing it as well, right? Are you having sex with him because you just want him to see your value? Okay, that's not going to work, because now you're communicating you have low self-worth, and he's going to pick up on that. Are you not having sex with him because you're afraid that he's going to leave if you do have sex with him? Well, okay, it's kind of the same thing again. You should have sex for yourself, right? It should be about, or not have sex for yourself. It's about your own self-worth. It's about, not doing things where you're going to feel, you're not going to feel right about it. And it's the same kind of thing with this. If it's reciprocal, what is wrong with it? I'm just reading this. You previously said we shouldn't do too much giving. Cooking food is a giving act. Giving gifts is something that is someone's leg from my heart to do, but you said not to do that. I'm not sure about the leg thing, but no, when you are cooking dinner for a man, when he says, hey babe, I would like you to cook dinner for us tonight, you're not giving, you're receiving. You're receiving his leadership. All right. This is the difference between giving and receiving. If it's done through his leadership, then it is not giving. It is energetically receiving. It's the same thing like a blowjob. If he's like, hey, come here, like I want you to give me a blowjob, or however he's communicating that, you're not actually giving him a blowjob. You're receiving his leadership. Right. This is an energetic thing. And even the blowjob itself, you could be doing it with the intention of trying to give pleasure to him, which would be energetically masculine, or you could do it to please yourself, to pleasure yourself, to get off on the act of what he's leading you to do. Not a lot, but some women can have orgasms from giving a man a blowjob, receiving a man's leadership of his cock, essentially, because she's enjoying it so much. She's getting so much pleasure out of it, which might sound crazy to some women, but it's true. So yeah, the difference between giving and receiving. So I am not suggesting that you start initiating and cooking dinner for a man without him leading you to do it. That's not what this is about. Okay, this is under specific circumstances, because it's women that have low self-worth, right? Typically they have low self-worth and they're more in their masculine. They're the ones that are doing something like initiating cooking meals for her man, or doing his laundry, or I don't know, giving him money and gifts and all that kind of stuff, right? That's what's going to drive a man away, and it's going to drive a man away really, really quickly. Or he'll keep you around, but it will never move towards exclusivity or marriage or whatever, right? Because he doesn't respect you. He doesn't respect you because you don't respect yourself. Why are you in your masculine doing all of these things for him that he didn't lead you to do in any kind of way? So these are some of the subtleties that come with polarity that are really important, and women really need to understand understand that it's just as unhealthy to be selfish as it is to be a doormat and do all of this giving stuff that a man wasn't even telling you to do. Um, you know, when I was dating my now wife, I was much more selfish than I am now, much more self-interested. I wish I could take that time back, but I can't. But I am thinking about if I was in that situation the way that I am now, and it's like I just want to make her happy and take her out on dates and provide for her and do all of these things for her, and she's not even willing to follow my leadership on something really simple like telling her I'd like her to cook me dinner. Yeah, it's going to be over really fast, right? Like I would lead her out of that, right? Because I know how to, like, I have the communication skills to lead her out of that, but most men don't. Or if a woman was just really fixated on these weird kind of beliefs, well, yeah, a man is going to leave. It's just the way it is, right? Men don't like selfish women. Men don't like women who set these kind of boundaries against him leading. Now, let's say a situation, we'll give you another situation. Let's say that he led a woman, like say I led a woman to cook me dinner, but I was not very devotional. I wasn't being super considerate and taking her out and doing these nice things for her. So it wasn't very reciprocal. Even then, you got to be careful about how you're communicating this, because in that case, yeah, you would be dishonoring your heart to cook him dinner. Why? Because he's not demonstrating his devotion. He's not demonstrating his consideration. He's leading you in a somewhat selfish way. And so if you submitted to that, to his selfish leadership, you're dishonoring your heart. So you need to learn how to communicate in a way that he can understand and be inspired by, hopefully, to be less selfish, instead of setting a boundary where he's just going to feel disrespected and probably not see his see how he co-created this situation, right? Where it's like, if he wants a submissive woman who cooks him dinner, he better be devotional, right? He better really be considerate and be leading and be, thinking about you and be doing things to make you happy, right? So this is all about self-worth. Because yeah, sure, a woman who is demonstrating her self-worth isn't going to submit to that leadership if he's being selfish. But guess what else? A man who has high self-worth is not going to keep a selfish woman around who wouldn't cook him dinner when he is doing all of this great stuff to take care of her and to cherish her and to court her and all of that, right? Ideally, we want two people who have high self-worth, right, together. If you're a woman, you want a man who has high self-worth. If you're doing things like what we just talked about, you're going to be driving away the men with high self-worth. And you're going to be stuck with the approval seekers who will continue giving and giving and giving, and you aren't doing anything back and aren't receiving his leadership and you're not submitting to his leadership. You don't want those men. right? That's not, those aren't going to be the men that can turn you on. Those aren't going to be the men that can lead you long term, keep you safe, and create a polarized relationship. Yeah, is there any other questions here? That's pretty much it. Yeah, so this is important stuff, right? This is one example, and there are dozens and dozens and probably hundreds of examples, situations that where women are doing this unknowingly, destroying a man's motivation to devote to you, right? Whether that's coming from being, kind of more of the doormat side, or being more of the selfish side, because you're stuck with all these rules that you learn from God knows where. I don't know where you learned them from, but I certainly didn't teach them. And it's keeping you stuck. Well, you probably learned them from single women that are, single goddesses that are going to be single forever, but somehow made money off of you. I don't recommend taking advice from love life advice from single women, because they don't know what they're talking about. I don't recommend taking advice from single men either, just for the balance there. But it's single men are much less likely to be doing that. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about this. If you want to make these shifts, right? Like, let's say you're single, we'll talk to single women, but this is for women in relationships as well. If you're single and you're not finding devoted men who want to take care of you, who know how to lead you, and you're not inspiring that kind of energy from them, right? You're not getting claimed by those kind of men, that you're not getting those men who are claiming you and also progressing, leading towards marriage. Really have a good look at yourself and think about, like, why is that? Like, is it the men or in the man, or is it actually me? Is there something in me that is demotivating these men? And I would argue, yes, there is something about you. Now, it's not something that's intrinsic and fixed. It's just, wounding and beliefs that aren't helpful to you, that are creating these behaviors in you that are demotivating a man from inspiring to devote you and claim you and take care of you and lead towards marriage or further commitment or whatever. It doesn't have to be that way, but you need to be willing to get serious about this. Recognize that, yes, it's probably something that I'm doing. It definitely is something that I'm doing. I want to make a change. I want to get real support to figure this out and shift my behaviors, shift my communication, so that I can get a much different result. Like, literally, if this is something that has plagued you your entire life, this can be the absolute last year where you're experiencing this. Why would it need to go on any longer? We can shift all of that by showing you how to polarize the crap out of yourself, right? Shifting into your feminine energy fully, learning how to communicate from your feminine all the time, shifting fully into your feminine self-worth, so that men look at you and it's like, oh, I want that woman to be mine and only mine. And I want to, like, be with this woman forever and make her happy. That's within your power. I want to empower you to be able to do that, but not empower you in the way that you're often told about women empowerment, but feminine, real feminine empowerment, where you can do this effortlessly, right? Just by being the best version of yourself, by being submissive, by using feminine communication, by being vulnerable and in your heart, by not exposing yourself to things that aren't good for you. If you want that, I want you to send me a private message. Let's talk about this. Right? Tell me what you are struggling with. Let's see if I can help you. Right? Shift all of this. Let's make 2022 the last year that you struggle with these problems. That's a choice that you get to make. Reach out, send me a private message. Let's talk. Let's make it the last year that you're single or in a relationship that you're not happy with.